Greetings, Star Trek Fleet Commanders. I am the Angry Rhino. Please like and subscribe to the channel. So it's that time, once again, my final thoughts of the past arc. Lower, and this is also one of the videos where I have notes. I usually don't make that many notes, but you will see me or hear me refer to my notes section. Lower Decks 2 Part 2. And like always, start with the officers. Bing. They are one of the most important part of this game. Now, 2 epic officers came out and 1 rare, which it's kind of how I've been feeling this month. Shaxx makes sense. You had Billups and you had Ransom. You got to complete the triangle there. Completely understand. Did we like the leaderboards and the milestones or lack thereof at certain points? No, not really, but it's not terrible. The real problem with the sourcing really came because they were mixing and matching who was in what leaderboard and who was in what milestone. And that kind of made it harder to unlock them all. Did unlock Shaxx. Did unlock the rare officer, Alonzo Freeman. Not a huge fan of a Starfleet admiral being a rare, and the other 2 being epic. And then at the same time, the rare that happens to be an admiral only has an officer ability and a below deck ability. And what? Because they have to put something here. It's not going to say it. It says flag officer. This officer does not have a captain's ability. Thought it was going to say it. It doesn't say it. So they didn't go with unfit to lead, which is annoying. So they just put nothing there. Okay. Way to cover your own ass. Dick bags. But still, it doesn't make sense. 3rd officer is what I really have a problem with. Dr. T'Ana. Chief Medical Officer is her captain ability. Okay. So instead of telling us these officers are unfit to lead, even though they are officers. Okay. The below deck ability, I think, is okay. It's fine. It gives you some isolatic defense. Doesn't really help that much, but it is there. This is the ability I really have a problem with. And yes, I don't like the sourcing, and the sourcing sucks, and it's ridiculous to make these PvP officers and then never source them. So you're already getting negative points there in my book. But then you come to something like this. Dr. T'Ana pairs with Freeman fairly well. On round start, Dr. T'Ana has 40% chance to apply a random state to the enemy player's ship for 3 rounds. Random states being defined as morale, burning, and hull breach. No assimilated. Okay. Not really sure why, but okay. The high tiers Dr. T'Ana can be very good if you're using Freeman. But at the same time, one of these random states happens to be morale. Now, if you put burning on your opponent, there's benefit for you there. Not just proccing Freeman, but the fact that there are other triggers, or let's say other officers that may trigger from burning. So if you didn't have a full Freeman, T'Ana, say Honor Guard Worf, and you wanted to use somebody else like a Ash Tyler. Not that you're going to get burning, but Ash Tyler would proc when your opponent starts to burn. So there is a benefit there. And the same with Hull Breach. Certain officers have certain abilities that will proc for Hull Breach or burning. Then there's the background ability. Hull Breach will take 1% off of your opponent's hull health. Hull Breach will add 50% to your critical damage. Actually, it's increase your critical damage by 50%. So 50% of your critical damage is what your critical damage gets increased by. So if you have 300%, your critical damage should be 450%. At least that's the way the battle log appears to be working. Then you come to morale. The way morale works is usually you're supposed to put it on your ship. Say Kirk and Spock. Kirk puts morale on your ship. Spock reads as when your ship has morale, shield regeneration. Same with, let's say, Zao. When your ship has morale, increased mitigation. Because that is the way morale works. Background ability for morale is when your ship has morale, you get increased piercing stats. So if you're putting morale on your opponent and that opponent happens to be an explorer, well, no, that's not true. That because the background ability will trigger for, let's say, an augur. They will get increased piercing stats. When it comes to ship type, what does putting morale on an explorer do? Well, something kind of new is artifacts. One of the artifacts says if you're on an explorer and you're moraled, you have increased isolated damage. Is that going to pair nicely with Freeman? Yes, because she will do such and such percent of isolated cascade, and isolated cascade further enhances isolated damage. So, could putting morale on your opponent actually benefit them? Yes. Especially if they're running a Freeman crew. They're probably not putting morale on themselves. So, by you doing it, you help them out. I don't want to do that. What do I want to do that for? I don't want to help my opponent out. I want to help myself out in beating my opponent. Putting morale on my opponent doesn't help me beat my opponent. Okay, yes, it allows Freeman to proc. Well, so could Lorca. So could Georgiou. So could Nero. So could Gorkon, assuming you can get your critical hits. So what the hell do I care about Dr. T'Ana for? Okay, yeah, she gets synergy. All right, cool. Whatever. I just don't like Dr. T'Ana that much. I don't. It's just the way these ship states work. They don't work the same way. When you put a burning and a hull breach on your opponent, it works differently than if you put morale. Putting morale on your opponent actually benefits them. I don't want that. All right, enough of the officers. Oh, well, yeah, thumbs down, officers. Boo. Terrible sourcing. Ridiculous not giving the Admiral Captain's ability. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, for God's sakes, just give him all three abilities. I mean, it's going to happen once. Sooner or later, it's going to happen. We're going to see an officer with a captain ability, an officer ability, and a lower deck ability. Might as well do it with an admiral. All right, moving on to missions. Probably the only bright spot. Well, I guess that's technically not true. One of two bright spots this month for me. Yes, one of the missions I had to go mine some old resource that I don't have any use for, except for doing missions. But at the same time, if you read the dialogue, and I read the dialogue because it was a lower deck mission, I love the dialogue because, yeah, you had to go mine some dumb shit, but then there's Mariner yelling at Boimler because Boimler's like, "Oh, it's so exciting! We're doing Starfleet things. We're mining stuff." Like, then Mariner saying, "You're so lame. Mining sucks." It's like, wow. One sounds exactly like Lower Decks. Not that I sounded like Lower Decks, but at least me reading the dialogue really did feel like a segment on Lower Decks to me. And the fact that what the dialogue was, mining sucks ass, which kind of is what we were thinking. And kind of what I'm saying is I don't want to go mine some dumbass resource I don't need. So, it's a very short segment here in my video, but I think whoever came up with the idea and who wrote the dialogue, I think you did a fantastic job. Sure, it's probably a huge ask, but you know what? If we could do one Lower Decks mission every arc, I would be happy. I would like that because I really enjoyed the missions for Lower Decks. Now, not all the missions were Lower Decks focused. I think one was a territory focus, but they can't all be winners. But you had one that was one of the funniest and most enjoyable missions I've ever done. So good job. Missions were very good. Come to the events. Now, I did like how the event store was set up, and since it's a thing that they have been doing when they do these 2-month arcs, you don't get a full-fledged event store, but you get this mini event store that you have some currency and you go and get bundles, like a crystal bundle, a Parsteel bundle, the lithium and gas bundle, a territory bundle, a away teams bundle. I like that you gave players the option. What I didn't like is in getting this option, it did feel like the rewards were less. One chest for me gave about 300 uncommons. Now that doesn't seem too bad if you were getting 2 chests per event. Well, I don't think that's how it was. The way it seemed like it was for me was you got 1 chest pool per event. So 300 uncommon materials per event doesn't seem right to me. That seems too low. I feel like, and I didn't track any of these numbers, I would have to go search my videos to see if I ever pulled an event reward from it to see what they were in the past. But I feel like they were around 450 uncommons. I'm talking about 5-star here. Yeah, I know there's some 4-star and there's some 3-star in here, but I'm just, really focusing on the one resource that I really need right now. I don't really need 4-star uncommon. I feel like it was closer to 450 uncommon. Now, 300 uncommon. Okay. So it really felt like less. And another thing that really bothered me was, what did they call them? Replicator tokens. They were called replicator tokens. Let's go find them. The event store is up. The event store is going away soon, so make sure you get in here and spend all your currencies. All right. Yeah, see here, 1 chest, 300 uncommon. Just seems low to me. What I have a problem with is, let's say, some of the leaderboards. And it was just the way they divided up the currency throughout the thresholds, I guess. Your placement in these leaderboards. Now, with 6,000 replicator tokens being what it costs to open a chest, the rewards should be in increments of 6,000. Because if they're not, then where's the reward? If you get 6,000, and this is hypothetical here, if you get 6,000 replicator tokens for a second place finish in a leaderboard, and you get, let's say, 8,500 for a first place finish. Yes, technically you're getting more. You are getting more. You are getting 250 replicator, I'm sorry, not 250, 2,500 more replicator tokens than second place. But what can you get for 2,500 replicator tokens? You can't get anything. So what's a reward? Because you decided not to make the reward milestones in increments of 6,000. You're assuming that a player can get more first place finishes. You don't know that. So you give somebody 8,500 replicator tokens for this first place finish. But let's say they finish second place in all the other leaderboards. Well, then they have this extra 2,500 replicator tokens for nothing. Even though they came in first that one time, they can get nothing with that. That's dumb. It's dumb. And there's really only... No, this is not a What Was You Thinking video. But there's only two ways of thinking of why you do this. At least in my mind. One is you make it 6,000 instead of like 1. Why does... because it doesn't need to be 6,000. You can make it 1 replicator token and then award people 1 replicator token. I don't know. Why does it need to be 6? It doesn't need to be. So you're only making people think you are giving them more, when in actuality you're not. You're making it seem like people are getting more reward. You're tricking them. And the other reason to do it is you just want to screw with people. You want people to look up here at their little inventory and see they have 1,800 left and be annoyed with that. You did it intentionally to mess with people in this way. People with OCD and having leftover currency and hating that and wanting to do something about it. The problem is you can't do anything about it. Even if you were to go buy a pack, what are you going to buy? 120,000 replicator tokens? Well, guess what? That's a multiple of 6,000. So you're still going to have 1,800 left. Or I would. So what does this extra 1,800 that I got from some leaderboard do for me? Nothing. It does nothing for me. So why'd you make the rewards like this? Okay. Yeah. Screw you. Alright, now coming on to the features. I guess there were technically a few features, or at least 3 that I will talk about. The new Armadas and the new Armada chests, I'm really okay with, I guess. I don't like that, say, one chest for the Epic is 300,000 and then to get 2 chests, it's 800,000. That just seems dumb to me. I don't understand why. You look right here in this refinery, there is no price increase for pulling multiple times. So they are capable of it. Maybe it's just I haven't understood the definition of why they do it in some places. In some places, they don't do it. I don't know. I just don't like it, especially when the G4 and the G3 Armada chest are not like that. But it does give sourcing to things that either had little sourcing or had no sourcing, like, say, G5 ships. Rare tactical cores. Getting a lot of rare tactical cores now. Still need a shit ton more, but I am getting a lot more. Come to the territory update. Well, yes, it looks new and it looks fancy. Not sure, at least at this state of the game, that I really like coming out with new game modes or features that make players, at least some players, feel like they have to be in-game more. I don't really like that. Now I'm not going to show you my map. But I will come to this. But, I mean, at the same time, some people, if they're going to like it, they're going to willingly spend the time in there. There is benefit there. There are nice services in there. There's some pretty lame services. But there's some nice ones. At least, even as far as the old ones are concerned. Some of the new ones are good. You put Monaveen blueprints in there. You got a service for increased reputation. You got a service for cloak duration, increased scrapping speed, increased energy weapon damage, increased kinetic weapon damage, increased isolytic damage in PvP, and particle efficiency, the old particles. I don't really like that you added more research to the territory tree without giving some players a way to speed up the progression of the old tree. Now, for players in my range, yes, we did get a way to increase our progression there where our isolytic not isolytic. That's why I don't like calling things ISO, because now we have two things that are abbreviated with ISO. It's isolytic and then there's isogen, so gotta be specific now. All right. Isogen pulls for 51 and up, or is it 50 and up, have now been increased. You have to spend more raw isogen, but you get more emulsion in return. Which segues into the other thing. You did not give more alloys. More services means more alloys needed to activate the services. Well, did you give players a way to get more alloys? No. Okay. That's not a good thing. And, like I said, yes, you did give some players, a way to increase the time needed to get through the old researches. But you made us have to give you more raw isogen. Did you give us a way to get more raw isogen? Let's say bigger isogen nodes. No, you didn't. While you updated some of the other things, but not like some of the things we needed. Like, I can't have a bigger 1-star isogen node than 200,000? Come on. Really? Come on now. Bullshit is what that is. And while I do like, putting a Monaveen in there, I do think the price is a lot better than the jellyfish. At least it feels that way to me. It may just be because I am a higher level player than I was when I was going after the jellyfish, and therefore I can get more of the isogen, of the raw. What the hell does it cost? It costs emulsion, doesn't it? I mean, I do feel like it costs what, like 45,000 for 10 blueprints. That actually, I mean, to me that sounds better. I don't know that it actually is. It could just feel better to me because I'm getting more than many years ago when I was getting a jellyfish. So that's good. I mean, I don't like that it's only in 3 of these 6 3-star territories. Because as far as I'm concerned, that quantum particle bullshit, it only gives you 10. That ain't worth shit. 10 particle? Really? In some cases, that's 1 research a week. One research a week? Are you kidding me? Okay. You're dumb, but alright. Yes, and one more thing into the features. It does kind of fit into the features because I feel like every month they do come out with new primes. And while this one was not on the Arcfall patch notes, shocker, was in the mid-month patch notes and mid-month update where it came into the game about a week ago now. Station, what the hell is it? Station delay, prime station delay. Spend $100, you can have your opponent's station and the ships docked in the station delay firing for 1 round. You spend another $100 and you can get that to happen for 2 rounds. So 2 rounds, when you're hitting stations, 2 rounds, your opponent doesn't fire a single shot. You certainly get the strategy there. I'm not saying I don't get the strategy. The problem I have is how many people have you screwed over with that? That's the problem. Yes, it's targeting the whales. They want to have big ass ships and kill anything. I mean, it makes sense. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm just saying you are then targeting a certain group of players and showing lots of favoritism, while this other group over here, who actually make up the larger majority of your players, you're telling to piss off. The real problem I have with that is, like, you can give this other group over here, you can give the whale stuff. You can give the whale stuff without actually screwing these people over. You can. You just choose not to. Think about how a lot of people play incursions. Big raids happen. Yes, okay, maybe there's a few people there. That can happen. But how often have you seen massive, not necessarily massive raids like you're raiding one player, but maybe you find a system with a couple players in there that are unshielded, and then you see, you bring all your buddies in there to help you drain these guys, and then the other server comes in there and tries to defend you, and it's like a massive battle royale. You're trying to raid this base. These guys are trying to hit you before you get to the base. They're trying to hit you after the base. They're trying to hit your station. You're trying to hit their station to keep them from attacking you, and then you're going to go try to raid this guy who was just hitting you, and this happens. You're attacking this player, and you're attacking that player, and you're attacking this base, and you're attacking that base, and you're defending your base. You're defending your base over here. You're defending over there. You're killing this level 60 with your base, and you're killing that level 60. That's all going to go away now. Because, as I said at the end, we were all having fun, and then the level 60 showed up. Well, time to shield up. No more fun. Because you won't be able to do anything. They'll just be able to crack your base, just like that. You certainly understand that point, but the problem is now you really can't have gigantic battles like that. Or at least you won't, because so many of these mid 40 players or even high 40 players are just going to be like, well, I can't do anything. I can't go and participate in the PvP fun because my base will be unshielded, because that's what happens. So now I'll just be getting cracked all the time. There's no point in having a defense because my defense won't do anything. So I can't even defend my base. So I can't PvP because then my base is defended. Well, the only way to defend my base is to put a shield up. Okay, so why am I doing incursions now? Just seems like this Prime really affects one of the last things that was enjoyable about incursions. Because in the open systems, you get some of these big spenders, and maybe they're not even just a 60, maybe they're just a big spender. And because they are a big spender, they have Max Strike team or a Max Freeman team. And it's like, well, you can't do anything. So, I mean, okay, so I'll go there, I get killed a bunch of times. All right, cool, whatever. All right, well, I'm not going to do PvP in open systems anymore because I can't get any wins. Right? I mean, why? Because I don't spend thousands of dollars a month? All right, I mean, hey, man, that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. I'll just go over here and I'll go find one of these big battle royales. Well, that's gone too, apparently. And I'll be honest, I mean, you can hate me for hating on these level 60s or whatever, but I'm saying, look, if you just learn the game a little more, you could get through these ocean defenses and bold defenses. They're not invincible. They are not. You can even do it with one ship. I'm not even saying you have to double tap them, which you can do. You can do. And then triple tap them with your amalgam and you're getting scoops off them. So you can beat them. Can we necessarily compete? I'm not even saying win. Compete with you if our stations are not going to fire for 2 rounds? No, not really. The competition is gone. There is no competition. There is no hope. Obi-Wan Kenobi is gone. Your only hope is gone. That's it. So what? No point. Be on a server without a big giant level 60 ship or close to it, or, don't play. Just seems like what events like that are turning into now. You could have made your money with other things. You chose not to. Well, that's just the way it goes. Getting distracted now because I hear lots of noise behind me. All right, I think that is going to... Yep, very distracted because I hear too much noise. All right, so the features, big fat thumbs down. Summarize this up. Nothing really good about this month at all. The mission was nice because it was funny, but really about it. Took like 10 minutes and then it was gone. Would it be nice if I could do it again? Maybe. It's like you see the writing on the wall. It's written all over the place. The game is dying, and we're just trying to get as much money out of people as we can before the game shuts down. Kind of seems that way anyway. Comment below. What did you think about this month? Were you as negative in your final thoughts as I was? Be sure to like and subscribe. I am the Angry Rhino. Shields up, Commanders.